What is easier to do if you're a woman?
Survive the NICU. Apparently girls do much better in the NICU than boys do and tend to have less health complications. We heard that time and time again as parents to a 29-weeker girl. Quick source, but there are others. Link.
Hiding sexual arousal.
You've never had to belt tuck your clitoris?
Not yet.
Carry anything on your hip.
Anytime I carry something heavy and place it on my hip, it's like a part of my instinct awakens.
Touch your friends, I think.
A couple of people have interpreted this as groping each other, but I feel like what I really notice in men is that they aren't as comfortable with intimacy. Sitting right up next to each other thigh to thigh on the couch under a blanket to watch a movie, resting a head on the other person's shoulder, gently moving an eyelash off of someone's face, holding hands are all practices I've experienced within my platonic relationships with women that I've never generally seen men be comfortable with. Like smacking each other's butts is whatever, but I think it's kind, gentle physical touch that is lacking.
Physical contact? If I feel like it, if I need a hug, I can just cuddle with my girl's friends. I don't think it's that easy for guys.
Straight facts, last time I had a hug was a few years ago.
Apparently women fighter pilots handle G-forces better than men, mainly due to being shorter and their heart not having to work so hard to pump blood to their brains. Short men also handle G-forces easier for the same reason.
Yep, as a tall guy, 6 feet 4 inches, G-forces F with me big time. In fact, 2 weeks ago I passed out on an especially intense roller coaster. My wife, who was sitting next to me for the ride, cackled with laughter when we saw the on-ride picture and I was out like a light.
Work with children. As someone who works in early childhood education, I've had the cops called on me 3 times when I took my kiddos to the park. Thankfully I know the beat cop quite well, so it has never caused me any real issues, but the fact that people see adult man interacting with children and assume I'm a violent predator honestly hurts a lot. My team is all big, burly, heavily tattooed men, but we are all insanely qualified to do our jobs, but that all means nothing to some random Karen who sees scary-looking me give piggyback rides or do a girl's braids. I had a bad childhood and just want to care of the little ones, kindly F off. Edit. I really didn't expect this post to get the response it did, so I feel like I should add some more information. I'd say about 95% of the families I work with are thrilled to have a man working with their kids, or just don't really care. So many children grow up without positive male role models in their life and are incredibly grateful for the work we do. Men, don't be discouraged thinking you can't work with kids. Most people are going to be quite supportive. Boys need men to show them how to be men, step up and help our little guys. With the right certifications and degrees, it can also be a pretty decent paying job with insane job security. To the Europeans saying, found the American, this happened in a European country. Stop acting like gender role related issues are an exclusively American problem. It only makes it harder to address these issues. What do the kids think of us? By and large we are their favorite teachers, and since they don't have a concept of why men like us are seen as intimidating, they just see us with a more objective view. They really like my tattoos, and sometimes draw on themselves or put on fake tattoos to look like us. One of my girls was furious with me one day and drew all over arms and face to look like my tattoos and beard and went around like, herder, I'm Caucasian delegation, get off the table and get in line. Never have I been so utterly wrecked. I was nearly in tears laughing.
I remember in college people thinking I was a pedo just because I volunteered teaching art at an inner-city pre-K over winter break. Haven't really felt comfortable interacting with kids ever since.
Changing babies in public. Many men's rooms do not have baby changing stations. Edit. In the United States.
Contrary to popular belief, females are also not allowed to change their babies if they don't like them. I'm afraid you're stuck with the one you got.
Help a child without suspicion or judgment.
Being around a child in general. I've been questioned when I was out with my son before.
Consoling a lost child in public. More to the perception of male threat, no matter how unfounded.
My sister and I have different dads, hers is white and mine is part Hispanic. I've been looking after my nephew when she's at work and stuff, and the amount of dirty looks I get is honestly disgusting.
Since the majority of posts here are sexual, I'll bite, sales. Seriously, female salespeople are on average much more successful than their male counterparts. In my industry, industrial sales, it's an open understanding that our typical sales contact, older middle-aged male, is much more interested in talking to females than males. Huge sales buff if you are young and at least a little attractive. If you are a hard-working, quick-witted and social young female looking for a high-paying job without education requirements, I would strongly encourage you to look into B2B sales. All of the technical knowledge you can learn on the job.
Most DG are prescribed to you because a hot girl with a rolling suitcase gave your doctor a free pen. Peter Griffin.
Sit down on a chair without accidentally sitting on yourself.
Too close to home.
Getting their hand into a Pringle can.
F yeah, I do the tilt plus 2 finger grab to get my Pringles fix.
I'm not afraid of getting accidentally hit in my private parts. It can hurt, but not nearly as much as men's, I believe. Edit. Yes, I've been hurt down there pretty badly before. A chair or a table. But I don't think it's the same because nothing is. Yeah now. Hanging down there. Plus I always thought like, what if I was a dude and suddenly someone pulled it so hard that it came out completely with all blood and nerves and skin and all that glorious stuff. It's also kinda tricky for someone to punch, kick you in the coochie at the angle needed for it to really hurt. Like I'd almost be impressed.
Getting tattooed. Maybe anecdotal, but I have spent hundreds of hours in tattoo shops and women seem to sit better from what I have observed.
I've heard this from multiple tattoo artists. Out of 100 people who tap out or are big whiners, 90 are men. Women don't have a higher pain threshold but are honestly used to acting like they aren't in pain every month. We've been told since we were preteens to suck it up and deal with it silently. No one needs to hear about gross things like periods, and it's not an excuse. I started birth control at 14 years before I had a boyfriend because of heavy painful periods that started when I was 12. We're talking vomiting kind of pain, sweating, shaking, lightheaded kind of pain. Yet I was expecting to sit in class and do gym class and eventually go to work, all while not telling anyone about it and all without complaining. It doesn't hurt just your uterus, it hurts your lower back, your head, your breasts, your muscles. It's like having the flu, including the diarrhea, except every month and you have to pretend to be fine the whole time. I've gotten several tattoos. The one on my foot felt like a scalpel running down my foot over and over. I wanted to scream but I didn't so much as flinch or twitch while getting it done. So it's not that women have an easier time or a higher threshold for pain, it's just that we're used to being in pain and no one caring. Women are constantly dismissed by doctors and other medical professionals for real problems. Too many people tell women it's just in their head, stress, female problems, their weight, or that they are just doing it for attention. My friend had her appendix burst at home because the ER sent her home and told her it was just period pain and to deal with it. I had to borderline harass an ER to look for the source of my sudden intense pain. They tried to send me home twice but I refused. They finally scanned me and I had 2 kidney stones. TLDR, women don't have a higher pain tolerance, they are just ignored or told to hide it.
Knowing for certain that the baby is yours.
As the Spanish saying goes, los hijos de mis hijos, nietos míos son. Los de mis hijos, no lo sé yo, to my daughter's children or my grandchildren. Those of my sons, I don't know. Distinguish between colors. I can't find the reference now, but I once read an article where some fraudsters were sneaking into a conference with fake badges. The fake badges had a slightly different shade of color. Women could spot the difference, but men couldn't.
Also, women can have the gene and not be colorblind. But if they have male kids, it's highly probable and sometimes literally impossible for them not to be colorblind. 1 in 12 males are colorblind versus 1 in 200 females.
Small thing but telling what a lotion, deodorant, body wash, shampoo smells like by the label. Women's is just labeled like vanilla or lavender, but men's get dumbass names like Wolf Hawk or Champion.
Bear Fire, for men. It's manly and comes in a black bottle. Ladies, stay out. Feel the fire. Embrace the bear.
Having a baby, super hard as a guy.
Seahorses have entered the chat. Wear another gender's clothing.
I once got a bunch of mislabeled lab coats. Somehow the service switched mine out. I was thoroughly confused as to why I felt like I was a 5-year-old trying to figure out how to tie his shoes. I literally could not work the buttons. And that's how I found out women's buttons are on the opposite side of men's.
Tons of martial arts throws. Female center of mass is lower down in the body than male center of mass, even before accounting for height differences, and it's absolutely crucial to certain martial arts throws. Like, you know that one throw you see all the time in movies where someone grabs a person from behind, and that person just leans forward and rolls them over their shoulder. Yeah, that's almost impossible for most men to do unless the stunt person grabbing him is helping with it. But for your typical woman, it's literally as easy as leaning forward. It takes basically no strength, it's all leverage. I'm a man who practices mixed martial arts, and 4 times out of 5 when I'm sparring a woman and I lose against her, it's because she threw me.
Have multiple orgasms.
The splits. Unless you are Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Is it actually easier for women, or are there just more women who train flexibility like that?
Here's a fun one. Women are generally better at conserving air while scuba diving. I teach scuba, and 95% of the time my female students could stay down twice as long on their first dive than their male counterparts. It's a big pick-me-up for so many tiny women who think all the heavy gear is going to set them back from the big muscular guys. Update. So surprised to see this response. Glad you guys think it's as interesting as I do. Looks like some studies have been done on this. There's a Telegraph article behind a paywall that links to the studies, but for more casual reading, check this out, link. In my opinion, I think the major piece of the equation does have to do with oxygen use being more efficient in women due to sheer muscle mass, but I do see there is a psychological aspect to it too. I see a majority of men take heaving breaths rather than normal relaxed breaths. Because of this, sometimes these guys will be overweighted to counteract the positive lift created by their lungs. This means they're dragging around more weight and thus exerting more energy. Along with that, I tend to see a lot of women relax in the water a lot faster than men do, so they become accustomed to what breathing regularly underwater is like. For those of you who have asked how to become more conservative divers, here are a few tips. 1. Practice buoyancy. The closer to neutral buoyancy you get, the less drag you'll have. As you get accustomed, you'll find you can shed lead from your gear, which continues to make you more efficient. 2. Spend some time focusing on your breathe. For the first few months of diving, my primary concern was my breath and making sure to always keep breathing. You have to counteract the desire to take deep gulps of air and instead try to find a rate at which you are relaxed. Skip breathing isn't the goal either. That will just make you want to suck down more air later as you get exerted by hold your breath. As you get used to this rate, you can play with changing your breaths to change your buoyancy. 3. Relax. Taking it slow and using efficient movements is going to allow you to conserve air throughout your whole dive. As a bonus, if you take things slowly, you are more aware of your surroundings and tend to see more life.
Can confirm. My dad was a PADI instructor for over 20 years, and this was a thing. He himself was able to conserve air with much training and experience almost to the same degree as a woman. It also helped he was a small person at 5 feet 1 inch.
Serving tables at a restaurant. While the overall sales between the men and women servers are about the same, the women get tipped much higher. People seem to have a better time at restaurants if their server is a woman.
I'm a male server and I can confirm. The other women who serve at my job make double or sometimes triple my tips. Those ladies get single $100 tips regularly, which I've never gotten. That said, it's not always greener on the other side of the fence. They still have to deal with a lot of harassment and unwanted attention from creepy guys. And don't forget those mean old ladies. They are especially rude to the younger women working there.
Peeing while horny.
Touch a breast.
Why not two, both? Or you discriminate the other one?
There are a lot of advantages to piloting high-performance vehicles that come from being smaller. Better strength-to-weight ratios help with G-forces. Having a smaller distance from your heart to your brain makes you less likely to pass out from stagnant hypoxia. And fitting into small places is great for fighter pilots and astronauts. Obviously not all women are smaller than all men, but women have a statistical advantage in this respect.
Getting a match on Tinder.
I made a fake female account in my small town with some friends that were women. Immediately had dozens of matches. The profile picture was of a dog. The fake account was flooded with messages from dudes, while my actual account as a male never saw a single match.
Date a lesbian.
Au contraire, my 2 exes will say otherwise.
Daycare worker. Really any profession to do with kids.
I'm one of only 3 male teachers in my elementary school. One perk is that I basically get my own private bathroom since the other 2 teachers are at the other end of the school.
Be pregnant.
Am I pregnant or am I okay?
Fun answer, it's easier for women to learn how to rock climb. Men will use their upper body strength as an early crutch and muscle their way up a wall, while women have to develop correct form and technique to do as well when first beginning. This leads to much better climbers from my observation. Sad answer, physically abuse the opposite sex. Many times if a man is in a physically abusive relationship, others will assume he isn't or can't be abused. There are numerous videos where actors has shown women hitting men in public and at best no one helps, some will even laugh. Switch the roles and everyone comes running to help a woman being physically abused by a man.
Thank you for watching. We upload new videos every day, so be sure to come back for more fun. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video.